Welcome back to the White Noise Podcast. I'm Ethan, joined by Gorge, and as always, would you look at that? Jacob's not here today, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, he's not.
But you know who is here?
Who?
A very special guest, a good friend of mine and Gavin's, avid listener, Mr. Joe.
Hello.
Welcome to the White Noise Podcast for the first time, Joe.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. How was the drive?
It's pretty nice.
It's nice.
You asking him or me? No, I'm the one that fucking drove him.
Whoa. Okay. So Joe, why don't you?
How was Ohio?
How was Ohio? I was thinking about keeping the Ohio thing going, but I was like,
What city
it's
is
an
he
old
from?
joke. There's not that many cities in Ohio anyway.
Doesn't even exist.
There's like 4. We already used all of them. So Joe.
Yes.
Joe has been a friend of mine and Gavin's for like going on 9 years now, huh?
Yeah, at least like 12 or something.
15?
15, maybe? Nah, just kidding. It's been 2 years. That's crazy. It seems way longer.
It does.
Why don't you enlighten us on how we met?
So.
On how you and Gavin met, specifically.
Oh, okay.
The true story.
The true story.
Yeah.
Not the cover story.
Not the cover story.
Oh, okay.
I'm dying to know this too. I didn't know there was a true story.
So, in high school, I played football, and I was on the team with this guy named Jay.
Shout out, Jay.
Shout out, Jay. I think we've shouted out a lot of times, so shout out, Jay.
That guy.
That guy.
And in college, Jay asked me if I wanted to join a D&D campaign he was running.
Yeah,
so I joined it.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
And that's how I met you guys. You guys were a part of it.
Woo!
Look at that.
Shout out,
Full
Jay.
circle. Shout out, Jay. Making friendships. Haven't talked to that guy in a while. I think it's been 2 months, 3 months.
Damn.
Unless we send memes. But that's it.
And he'll send like one meme and then just be gone.
Yeah.
You missed him. Maybe next quarter you'll see him. It's like a fucking comet.
Yeah, that's
It comes around every now and then.
That's how we met Joe, D&D, and then we played D&D for
Time zone pending.
a year and a half. So that was fun.
Same campaign too.
Same campaign
really
for a
compelling
year and a
story.
half, and then it ended abruptly because,
No, it had an actual ending, and then we started a new one, and that one never got an ending.
well, it should have ended from the original ending, and I stand by that.
Okay.
And you stood by that too, and then you just switched on me.
Oh.
Gavin brought it up.
We probably would have had a different ending had you not messed up the campaign like halfway through. Or like that final end there.
I did
That's
do
a
that.
story for another time then.
Joe.
But with that being said, Gavin,
Ethan.
I forgot what I was going to say.
That's tough.
That's tough. And we're back. So, Kevin, you want to explain where Jacob's at today? Just kidding, you don't have to.
He's in my
Jacob's in
basement.
Jacob's in Gavin's basement. I was going to say he's in Ohio.
Both. I mean, same thing.
Gavin does have a basement in Ohio, or his basement leads to Ohio. So
It's the same. It's the same like
thing.
area. I mean, you go in there, you never come out, you never heard from again.
So, on last week's Gavin versus Wild, Jacob voted for the blind bull, and then Gavin had to punish him.
Yeah,
so that's why he's not here this
That's
week.
what happens.
Obviously.
don't vote against me.
Oh, I voted against you.
You voted against him?
Yeah.
I think I have the screenshots.
Let's
right?
hope. Let's see if you make it home today, Joe.
We'll talk more about the Gavin versus Wild later, but for now, let's get into our weekly, for some reason, Moon Knight update. Gavin, how was the latest episode of Moon Knight?
This definitely was by far the weakest episode of the show.
Okay.
However, despite me saying that, this episode was still pretty good. In fact, it even had some horror elements in it. So definitely recommend to watch, especially if you're a sucker for, jump scare or two or just like a thriller. Some unique enemies showed up in this episode, and the ending left you scratching your head going, what the hell just happened? So if you're into that stuff, into stuff that'll make you want to watch the next episode, might as well give this episode a watch. Give the whole show a watch. Seriously, what the fuck are you doing? Watch the whole goddamn show. It's taking you so long.
I've only seen the first episode. Joe, have you seen any of it?
I have not seen a single episode of Moon Knight.
Cringe.
Is there a reason, or like you have no interest, or you're just waiting until it's all comes out, or?
I've been watching some other shows.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing we'll get to in a later segment.
All right,
I'd
cool.
give this episode a 7.
Do you think, I wanted to ask you this, Gavin, do you think after this season of Moon Knight, there will be a second season or a movie?
Okay, if they do a show, it's got to have a much higher budget than this. Like, you can't afford to have Moon Knight on the show for, like, a grand total of 5 minutes throughout the entire 6 episodes. You know, if we're going to do another season, I want to see way more of Moon Knight than just the last couple seconds of the episode.
Okay.
If we do a movie, though, we'll have a much higher budget, so Moon Knight won't look as janky, and we'll get to see more of
Do you think it could be possible in, this leads to the next thing, the current state of the MCU?
Like, do you think it...
Like, do you think, can you see that happening down the line?
Oh, no.
No?
I can't. With how, like, with every MCU movie coming in, there's, like, the threat rises up, so now we're at the point where there's really no such thing as a villain that doesn't threaten the whole fucking planet in one way or another.
Whole universe.
Exactly.
It's multiverse now.
Exactly.
It's
So
not
it's
even
like,
your own universe. It's every
Every multiverse.
possible
It's
universe.
It's the same thing with, like, Daredevil and Punisher, where it's like maybe we'll see something in this next Doctor Strange movie, but them getting interlinked into the MCU and being, like, on
Interlinked.
screen, kind of like Spider-Man. No, that's
Nobody
not
got that
happen.
reference.
What was that?
Interlinked.
Interlinked. That's from the movie of the week,
Yep.
which we'll get to.
I would love to see him, you know, stand next to Hulk or some shit, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
That's fair. Maybe.
Didn't,
I mean, we'll see. Nothing's possible.
Didn't Oscar Isaac say it was just going to be a limited series?
I don't recall.
I thought he said something like that.
And if he said that, I can see it becoming like him just playing a role in a movie or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a great job. He's
Even
done
like
a great job.
even like
so
a
far.
team up movie or something.
I could see him being in like a Punisher or like a Daredevil show,
Okay.
but
Yeah, well,
or maybe
yeah,
even
that'd
in the
be
next,
awesome.
maybe even the next Spider-Man movies. Because I mean, in the comics and other
Yeah.
shows, Moon Knight has made an appearance there.
Yes.
So I mean, if in the next Spider-Man movie Moon Knight shows up, hell yeah, Spider-Man's my new favorite character. Just kidding. I would
Gavin
never.
will never like Spider-Man.
Ever.
Speaking of that, Thor, Love and Thunder. Did you guys see the trailer?
Nope.
Nope.
You guys both haven't seen the trailer?
Nope.
Joe, are you doing it purposely because you don't want to watch it, or you just like didn't get around to it?
I saw like some images of it. I just never really got around to it, and some of my friends I'm in a group chat with like sent memes about it, so I feel like I have enough cultural knowledge of it.
Gavin?
I just never got around to it. I knew it's been out. I just haven't. Just never got around to it.
Interesting.
I mean, I've heard it looks okay. I haven't seen it, but
Well,
I mean,
it's just
I don't know why Jane Foster's Thor, but I mean,
well, like I watched it. I watched it once just to see it.
Okay.
And I don't know. It's where I've been with the Marvel universe since Endgame. Of like, it's becoming the same thing. It's becoming a little repetitive. Like Thor, the last Thor movie, Ragnarok, did so good that I think they're trying to force this one just based off the trailer.
Like
Kinda
force the tone.
in a similar sense, yeah. In a similar sense of how Guardians 1 was so great, and then Guardians 2 felt a little forced because of how great the first one was, like in its tone and comedy. So that's the vibe I'm getting from Thor: Love and Thunder.
well, I thought when Thor was going to be coming back, he was going to be coming back with Guardians of the Galaxy, which I heard they do show up in this next show, but I don't know where. That
Yeah,
I'm
they're
just
in the
trying
trailer.
to.
Well, it's like I think they'll barely be in it.
That's what people were saying. They'll
Which
like,
is
be
kind-
just in the beginning.
That's kind of disappointing, in my opinion. Then.
And then I think they'll leave. They'll like part ways and stuff. But I can very well see Thor dying at the end of this movie or something.
Really?
Yeah, or at the very least retiring, and Chris Hemsworth kind of hanging it up.
Was Christian Bale in the trailer at all?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, yeah,
he's
he's
like
gonna
playing
be-
the
Yeah,
bad
he's
guy.
the main bad guy. I don't know. I didn't see anything, and I didn't watch it closely. I just watched it casually.
Honestly,
I watched it from far away.
I think that if we're going to go with state of the MCU, I think the future of the MCU hinges on how well this Doctor Strange movie goes and
Yeah.
what it does. If this movie sucks and flops, that could very much well be a pretty bad sign about what's going to be the future.
Can't be. Sam Raimi's directing it. Can't flop.
I don't know. Anything's possible.
Shout out Sam Raimi.
Shout out Sam Raimi. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
But I don't know. I think it just depends on if Doctor Strange does well or not. There's just so many theories about what's going to happen in this movie, but nobody knows, like, who's all going to be in it.
Yeah, it's as crazy as the like Far From Home theories and
Yeah,
stuff.
like I've heard that, there's going to be Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. There's going to be, what was his name? Thomas Jane Kelly as the original Punisher.
That'd be
And then,
cool to see, but I want it to have a purpose. I don't want
Exactly,
it to
it's
just
like-
be thrown in
Exactly.
there. because that's where.
Not to mention, it'd be expensive as shit
Well,
to get all these characters. To get all the Fantastic
If
Four
they wanted to
as
get
well.
Ben Affleck as Daredevil,
Please don't.
that'd be funny.
Yeah, dude, I want to see Elektra. Where's the Elektra sequel coming in?
Oh my god.
Oh man, I've been begging
Jennifer
for that.
Gardner. Blade.
I'm looking forward to Blade, but it's not Wesley Snipes, so I'm a little.
That's the second time you've said that.
I fucking loved Wesley Snipes' Blade. He was cool.
I haven't seen a single one.
Oh
Me either.
my gosh, you
It
guys
is
suck.
Joe.
I think Ryan Reynolds was in it too, wasn't he?
I think he was in 3.
He was in the
Yeah,
third
he was in
one.
the third one.
It was like
I like how we know that, but we haven't
Yeah,
seen the
I know.
movies.
That's me with a lot of movies I haven't seen. It's like I know a lot about them, I just haven't seen it.
Do you think Deadpool's going to come in from this movie? Is this how they're going to merge him into there?
I don't think in this one.
I don't know.
personally.
Maybe in the credit scene?
I have no idea what they're gonna do.
All right, I'm calling it. End credit scene is going to be Deadpool making his way into the MCU.
Really? You think so?
Some either end
Some
credit scene or
wacky way?
some way in the movie. In the movie,
Patrick
at some
Stewart's
point.
in this movie.
Exactly. So that means we're going to get the X-Men. Let's be honest.
I'm so confused of what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
That's what happens when Disney.
stupid Fox merger.
I was gonna say that's what
Really
happens when
screwed
Disney
everything over.
buys the rights to your franchise. Thanks, Disney. But you are giving us a pretty kick-ass Moon Knight show, so I guess it can't be too harsh.
It's all right.
Give us season 2, please. What do you mean it's all right? You've only seen episode 1.
Yeah. And it
Episode
all-
1 was cool.
and it was all right.
No,
I thought you gave it like an 8 out of 10.
Did I? I thought I gave it a 7 out of 10.
you'll find his ratings change.
My ratings do change just depending on my mood. And I feel like that's valid. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, just when it changes as much as yours does.
No, it's not.
Yes. At that point, don't give a fucking rating. Man. It's gonna change that often. Don't give one.
Speaking of ratings, how about the ratings of this?
You having fun there? What the fuck's wrong with
I'm
you?
trying to figure it. Anyways, Star Wars. Let's go into that. So, Gavin,
All right, time to get controversial.
time to get controversial.
All
So
right.
this is an argument that's been ongoing, and I planned to do it today before I knew Jacob wasn't going to be here. So sorry, Jacob, that you won't be here for the Star Wars talk.
Rest in peace. Does he know that we're doing this?
No.
Don't tell him.
So my apologies or not even my apologies. Well, my apologies. Yeah.
Sorry,
so
Jake.
Star Wars. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna rank these movies, all live action feature movies. So Clone Wars movie doesn't count. Series doesn't count
Unfortunately.
because let's talk about the live action movies, the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, and then the Solo and Rogue One spinoff. Is there another one?
I think it's just those two.
Okay.
Can you go through like all the rankings? Like, what does it go from?
The rankings, like on a tier list.
Yeah.
It's S, A, B.
So we're
CD.
going best, pretty good, medium. This movie sucked.
So D is the lowest.
D is the lowest.
Okay.
Let's start with the original, A New Hope.
New Hope.
All right.
B tier.
B tier.
Yep. Wasn't a big fan of it.
What's your argument there?
Maybe had I watched it, I honestly think my bias towards that has to come from a technological standpoint. It was a little goofy at times, but
You can't appreciate like
But at the same time, I thought it didn't look super bad.
you're all about the looks when it comes to
I'm not all
movies.
about the
Yes,
looks,
you
but
are.
I will say that if a movie looks okay, I mean, I'll get into it later.
I don't
'cause
want to
we're
get
gonna-
into this right now.
We're gonna get into other movies.
All right, A New Hope, B tier.
B
Joe,
tier,
where would you
very
put A New
formulaic.
Hope?
I'd say keeping in mind like how it kind of revolutionized everything regarding sci-fi and Star Wars. I'd give it an S.
You give it an S.
Yeah.
S tier.
I really like A New Hope. I think
Okay.
It's a good movie.
yeah, I think it's a very solid movie with a lot of interesting moving parts and just overall it's very solid.
Okay.
And an iconic entrance to Darth Vader. Pretty good there.
That's fun. I put it at A tier.
Okay.
Which I think is a good in between B and S.
Okay, I'll settle for A tier then for me.
The reasoning for not like I understand where you're coming from, Joe, is like it's the original Star Wars. But I feel like Empire and Return of the Jedi are better than A New Hope.
You think so?
I do think
Really?
so. Yeah.
I think Empire is an S tier Star Wars movie. I will put Empire at S, but I think I will put New Hope in A, but Return of the Jedi I will put in B.
No, I feel like Return of the Jedi is fair to be an A as well.
It was a good movie, but it was nowhere near as good as New Hope and Empire.
You think so?
And Empire was just better than both of them. So it's just like,
You think so?
I do think so.
All right. So should I talk about both of those movies then, since Kevin
Yeah,
kind of jumped
let's do
around?
it. Let's do it.
All right, so
Go with
I would
Empire.
give Empire an A.
Okay.
They put it in theaters like 2 years ago again, so I kind of rewatched it then. And there were some parts that I thought were like a little slow,
Okay.
but at the same time, I appreciated like some of the technological advances, and like there were some really cool shots in there, I thought.
Okay.
So yeah,
Here's
good
what I
movie.
think we should do. Keep track of where you're rating these for yourselves, because I think this is going to get controversial. So I don't want one tier list to represent all of us.
I feel like most of us can agree on the the original trilogy. But once we get to the prequel trilogy, that's where shit's going
Prequels
to
and
get.
sequels, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And even the spin-offs. Like, I think Solo is a solid movie.
Okay. We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay.
We'll get
Oh
there
yeah,
when we
and
get
then
there.
Return of the Jedi, right? That was the next one.
Correct.
Okay.
Empire I put as S.
I'm putting Empire in S as well.
And I'll put it at A.
Okay. It's going to get confusing.
So, Return of the Jedi.
So,
Gavin already gave his ranking, right? On Return of the Jedi?
yeah. Honestly, it's just because of Endor.
What'd you give
I
it?
thought the Ewoks were very annoying.
that's it? Really?
I mean, I fucking loved Luke at the end.
So
Had it not been for, like, the Ewoks. But, I mean, I liked Ewoks in regard to, like, the Porgs. Fucking Last Jedi.
Okay.
But
Um,
it was a very obvious, we just want to sell some toys to kids type of thing.
I'd give Return of the Jedi a C.
C?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
You
didn't
give
like this
Return of the
movie at
Jedi
all.
C?
Yeah.
why is that?
I don't think, I think all the Jabba stuff is kind of boring. The Endor stuff is boring.
Whoa.
Whoa. Hot take.
I agree
bro.
with you on the Endor
Hot
stuff, but
take.
Jabba the Hutt stuff
They
was
kill
good.
off Boba Fett in a really stupid way.
Hot take, though. That is, wow. You
But they didn't
you
even
think
kill,
the,
that wasn't killing.
the Jabba stuff is boring. You think the Endor stuff is boring.
I do really like the Luke Vader Emperor stuff, though. Like,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's some of the best Star Wars out there, but it's a shame that it's surrounded by a lot of less good stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, but like Carrie Fisher in the beginning, bro.
Oh, that's
Come
where
on.
you're going off.
Come on.
Shut up, Joe. Not Joe. Shut up, Gavin. We're moving on.
I was talking about when she rescues Han.
Sure you were.
What do you
Sure
think
you
I
were.
was getting at? Huh?
Sure you were.
What do you think I was getting
Carrie
at?
Fisher in the beginning of Return of the Jedi.
She was epic.
What else would that mean?
She was epic.
What else would that mean?
She saved Han. What do you mean? What am I supposed to be getting at? What are you thinking of?
I hate you.
Luke versus the Rancor was also pretty cool. I thought the Rancor, for the time period especially, looked pretty fucking cool.
Sure you did.
I did.
But you hate it.
I didn't hate
You
it.
said it's visually unappealing.
I said New Hope was visually unappealing at some parts, but
It's
it was
whatever.
fine.
It's whatever.
What the? All right.
Now let's get into the meat of this steak. Phantom Menace, Episode 1.
Why don't you go first?
I think you should go first, Gavin.
I think you should
I
go
think
first.
I would put Phantom Menace at C tier.
What's the lowest tier we have? D tier, you said, or is it C tier?
It's D tier.
D tier.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm putting it there. In fact, we'll just create its own tier list. The Phantom Menace list, or tier.
Where?
Just E.
E.
Fucking,
Low.
it's the only
It's the
movie
worst
in that one.
one?
Yes. It was
Then
the
you keep track of
worst
that
one.
yourself.
I think the only way that Darth Maul, the fight with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, was the only reason that movie was watchable. That was the only part. That was the only part that I think
Where would you
anyone should
put
see
it?
the movie.
D.
D.
I really only like that one scene that Gavin just talked
Exactly.
about.
That fight was coolest. Honestly, best part. The whole pre-trilogy.
I tried rewatching.
Think so.
I tried rewatching Phantom Menace like 2 years ago. I got through like 10 minutes of it, and I was like, I can't watch this. It's just so bad.
And yes, I will die on this hill with visually unappealing. If I can't look at your fucking movie without wanting to throw up, yeah, I'm going to say, all right, visuals were shit.
But they had Jar Jar Binks.
I will say though, a lot of other people have talked about this, but you have to give Phantom Menace credit for at least like for what it did in terms of like CGI characters, like having Jar Jar and like innovating that. But the movie is just bad.
oh yeah, no, it was
great.
the first movie I think to use CGI.
It was
really.
It wasn't it the first movie to use digital
Yeah.
instead of like actual film.
I think
I
so.
think that was Attack of the Clones.
Nope. I think it was Phantom Menace, Joe.
Well, either way, there was something visually about it that was revolutionary for all of the movies going forward. That, however, does not save it from looking like kinda a hot mess.
All right, whatever.
The Gungans
Okay.
did not look good. And Jar Jar Binks, don't fucking bring him up to try to save that movie. If
right,
anything,
Attack of the
I would
Clones.
put it at C tier if it wasn't for Jar Jar Binks.
Attack of the Clones. Where'd you put that?
I'm putting that at C. Same problem. The clones look like shit.
I'd put it at D.
You watch Phantom Menace before you watch Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
At least there's more action in Attack of the Clones. And the fights make up for it. But I mean, I hate to say it, this is a hot take, but I fucking hated Anakin in both Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace.
I think that's a pretty popular opinion.
Well, no, because everyone's like, oh my god, it's Hayden Christensen, right? Is that
Hayden Christensen
Everyone
in
hates-
Attack of the
everyone
Clones.
hates
Yeah.
It's
Well, yeah, I
Jake
know that.
Lloyd
I know
in
that.
Phantom Menace.
And I don't want to rip on him too much in Phantom Menace because I heard that that's actually he went into depression because of
Quit
the
acting.
hate he got for that. But
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen, like,
But he also did Jingle All the Way, so.
I didn't think he was that. I didn't think he was that great of an Anakin. The Clone Wars Anakin, the
I
cartoon.
think he's Anakin, though. Like, you can't put anyone else in that role and see Anakin. Hayden Christensen made it his own to where he'll always be Anakin.
I feel like the
ra-
people I've talked to like prefer animated Anakin over live.
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
people
what I was
do.
getting
Yeah.
to.
But Hayden Christensen will always be Anakin. That's how you
The
always
look.
picture. That's how you always do that. Because it was between, I think, Paul Walker or Hayden Christensen as Anakin. I just can't see Paul Walker as the character of Anakin.
I also did not like the Padme Anakin love story.
Sure you didn't.
It was not that good.
It was beautiful.
No.
Just kidding. All right, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, I didn't give my ranking.
Oh, then hurry up, Joe.
C,
See?
for all the reasons we've discussed.
C,
I do like the
senor?
Jango Fett stuff.
I did. It was cool.
Okay. Okay.
I think if those two movies, Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, had been made with today's technology, might have made them a little bit better, but it was more than just the bad animation that made those movies bad.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Teach your own. Revenge of the Sith.
S tier.
S tier.
You guys put that in S tier.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's surprising considering how much you rip on everything else.
How
Wow.
I rip on the other two worst Star Wars movies? Yes.
Okay, well, I'd put it in S tier too, but I feel like I want to argue your guys' point of putting it in S tier. But it's S tier. There's
Well,
no other way to describe it.
if we're gonna go basic stuff real quick, visuals already are huge improvement.
And
From,
obviously, Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
that was
And
good.
obviously,
the
Order
fucking
66.
soundtrack that plays
Soundtrack,
during
yeah.
all of that.
Exactly.
So good.
Really
That's
good. Their
awesome.
CGI, like I said, way better. So it wasn't, like, ugh, to look at the whole movie.
It
there's
still
points.
it still has kind of the same issue of the other prequels, like the dialogue. There's points
Yes.
where it's not good, but I think there's enough.
That's every early 2000 movie, though.
Sure, but there's enough good stuff in Revenge of the Sith that I can overlook
Yes.
some of those flaws.
Okay.
I wish that, because I mean, I know this is going to be controversial because for some reason everybody magically loves the prequels out of nowhere. Like everywhere I look up on YouTube, everyone's like, oh my god, the prequels were so good. And I'm just kind of like, where were you guys when Lucas was getting all the fucking hate for these movies?
Had to
'Cause,
sell it.
yeah, he sold this movie because everybody hated him for it. So it's like, I'm just wondering where all these people came from and where were they when
Well, I think it's
this
mostly
was going
like
on.
people who were kids, like grew up on it and loved it. It was
Yeah.
like kids that loved it.
And
So
that's
people,
why
the
I
people
think-
that love it now were kids when those movies came out. So it's
Yeah.
not like they could defend it. It was adults that were like, these are trash. It was the people that grew up on the original trilogy and then are in their 30s watching the prequels and like, yeah, this is garbage.
And that's why I think a lot of people like the prequel trilogy now. It's because it's just nostalgia. It's like going back to that.
Sure you
Whereas
do.
That's
And
the
then-
that's
Sure
the
you do.
case.
There's like that argument: is the same thing going to happen with the sequels? I feel like Star Wars isn't quite the pop culture beast that it used to be. That I don't think the same like cultural, like or critical reappraisal of the movies will like happen regarding the sequels. But
Okay.
time will tell.
I don't see that happening either. But cool. As long as we agree that Revenge of the Sith is S tier. Should we do Rogue One next? Yeah, we'll do Rogue One next. Rogue One.
I'm putting that in an A tier movie.
Okay.
That was
Why?
a pretty good movie for me.
Why?
I liked all the characters for one.
Okay.
I liked the way it ended. The Darth Vader scene at the very end, really cool. Despite it being one of, at first, didn't think we were gonna get to see anything really at Darth Vader outside of just dialogue. So him going complete ape shit over Rebels at the end there was good. I loved the villain. I forgot his name, but I love that actor.
Krennic? He was in Dark Knight Rises. Gets crushed by Bane.
Mm-hmm. He was a really good, compelling villain. I liked how all of them, spoiler alert, all of them died at the end. But they died, their deaths weren't just like, oh no, they're all dying for nothing. Like, all of their deaths, every single one of them.
Suicide Squad.
Had something that meant. Like, they were doing something and it meant something when they died.
Okay.
So, it was sent. I mean, I know no one got really super attached to all the characters because you knew they weren't coming back. But it was still kind of disappointing to watch them all die.
All right, Joe, where would you put it?
Well, first, I was going to ask, did you know that they were all going to die when you went into it? Because I think somebody told me they were all going to die when I went into that movie, so I already knew that. But
I was young when I watched it, so I was like, do they die? Like, where are they now? Like,
that's what I figured.
Logically putting it together, like they're probably dead unless somehow they survive, type of thing.
Okay.
Well, in New Hope, Leia says a lot of spies died to get the Death Star plans.
Yeah.
So that's what I figured. They were dead.
Okay.
Where would you rank it, Joe?
I'd say A tier.
I think A tier's a fair spot. I could see it in S tier, but I put it on A tier for myself.
Yeah, I think there's just... I don't have any, huge issues with it, but I just don't think there's enough there to, push it into S tier.
All right. Now, let's do Solo.
I'm going to put that as a B tier movie.
Yeah? I thought you would put it much lower.
Oh, no, not Solo. I didn't like Solo, but I didn't hate it either.
Now I feel like I have to put it higher because I think it's fair in B tier, but
I mean,
liked it better than you.
Even if I didn't like it, I mean, I'm not going to say it's shit if everybody else enjoys it, unless it's Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, because those movies were shit.
Where'd you put it, Joe?
B tier. There's a couple things that annoy me, that are just kind of, it feels like the filmmakers felt like they had to include it, like Han Solo getting his name or getting his gun, or getting the Millennium Falcon. It's it just feels kind of forced. But I thought it was a pretty solid movie. I saw it years after it came out on Netflix or something.
Okay,
but, yeah,
cool.
I
think that's fair. Now let's get into the meat again, part 2. It's the second entree. Get into the meat. Force Awakens.
The meat returns. Force Awakens, I'm going to put in B.
Me too. Joe?
B.
Okay, look at that.
It was, They did butcher Han Solo a little bit in this movie, but I think everything else was pretty good.
It was a solid, soft reboot.
Okay. Yeah, it's almost a 1-to-1 to A New Hope in a sense.
Oh, yeah, it was entirely A New Hope.
It's funny because Jurassic World came out around the same time, and it was the same thing to the first Jurassic Park. Kind of the same exact concept. And then Last Jedi and the second Jurassic World came out, and they were completely different and 180. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. But Last Jedi, where would you put that?
D.
I'm putting it at C.
I put it at D.
I liked it way better than Phantom Menace, but
maybe visually, yeah.
Not even.
But visually, it looks good.
Sometimes the Red Room, if you look at the choreography.
I was just talking about cinematography.
Yeah, cinematography, great, but the story's just.
I think the acting was far better in this one than it was in Phantom Menace.
Was it?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Absolutely.
Kidding. And then Rise of Skywalker.
Also D.
I'm
Yeah.
going to put that C as well.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't think it was
terrible. Horrible. They ruin everything.
Yes.
However,
really wish Jacob was here.
I didn't like the whole fucking holy shit, here's a rebellion, everybody's here, oh my god, we have a ton of ships here, and I'm like,
where'd they come from?
Where the fuck did these people come from?
Or somehow Palpatine returned. That's just horrible stuff.
Yeah, definitely wasn't a good one. But again, I would definitely watch it before I watched Phantom Menace. That's just how I rate it.
I disagree. All right, cool. So we got those tier lists. We will get that made up and post it on the Instagram and say whose is whose. And then you can vote on who's right and who's wrong. Gavin's probably wrong. So he's used to it by now. And then we'll put Joe's on there, mine. And then we'll even probably get Jacob's on there. And we'll see. We'll see how they all stack up against each other. All right. So that's Star Wars. That's Star Wars talk for you. Let's get into the movie review from this past week. All right. So the movie of the week was Blade Runner 2049, the sequel to Blade Runner 1982. Just kidding. It came out in 1982, but it took place in 2019.
I thought it was just called Blade Runner.
It's called Blade Runner.
Kick-ass name, by the way. You know,
So,
I think it's a cool name.
Blade Runner. Gavin, what'd you think? Overall thoughts?
Were you talking about 2049 or the first one?
2049.
I thought it was a pretty long movie. Overall, I think the pacing was a little too slow at times, but I thought the acting in the movie was very good. I think the ending was I thought it was a little sad. You know, obviously your protagonist dies, so you're gonna feel a little sad for him. Especially the scene where the goddamn.
You didn't say
scene.
spoiler alert.
Oh, my bad. Spoiler alert. Especially the scene where he finds out that he's kind of for sure not human, like when he's having a struggle, right? Where he's like, oh, these memories were implanted in me. These aren't real. And he's coming to a realization that, oh, shit, this actually did happen, right? That happens?
Well, there's the part where
the horse?
Because
Did you watch the movie?
He thinks that's a real memory, but it turns out to be an implant. But he thinks it's real in that moment, and that's why he goes crazy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. It's good.
Okay. And then, Joe, this is not your first time watching this movie. You've actually recommended it to Gavin and I many times.
Correct.
And we never watched it.
Also correct.
Which is why we decided to watch it when we have you on, so you can talk about it. What makes you like this movie?
Well, Blade Runner 2049 is probably my favorite movie. Yeah.
Why is that?
So
Or I guess I already asked you, but go ahead.
But I'll continue. But I would say, so the acting is really good. Like Gosling, Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas, everyone else. So that's one element.
Jared Leto,
he's also very good, surprisingly.
Morbius
sweep.
Jared Leto gives it his all in everything he does.
Method acting.
All right.
But, sorry, to continue. The cinematography by Roger Deakins, which won an Oscar, I believe, is like just phenomenal. Just all the neons and the different colors and the vibe it gives off is really cool.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say I thought the setting was really nice.
Yeah, like the whole
establishing shots.
Yes, that's all really good. The screenplay I think is very solid. Like it gets you to care about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's not unlike the original. It's not based on a book, but it is written by the guy that adapted the book, like in the original movie. It's written by the same guy that wrote the first movie.
Okay.
It's directed by I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's a really good French director, I believe.
Yeah. Or I don't know how to pronounce it either. Didn't he
directed Dune, Sicario, Arrival.
Yep.
Bunch of really good movies. So the direction
Which I haven't seen any of them.
Really?
But I refuse to see Dune for whatever reason.
I forgot about that. But yeah, phenomenal direction. Trying to think of anything
it won
else.
Best Cinematography.
And you have Harrison Ford. How can you go wrong there?
Yeah, and
Harrison Ford didn't show up till 2 hours into the movie, though.
But he gives, in my opinion, one of his best performances. I'm talking about 2049 more so than the original.
It's very interesting that you say that, Joe.
Yeah, Ethan, what is your stance on that?
My stance on the movie.
Oh, no, I meant on Harrison Ford.
I'm just going to go into the movie, and then I'll go into the Harrison Ford thing.
All right.
But okay. So Blade Runner, I also watched the original. I watched it back to back. Like right when the original was done,
Really?
I watched 2049.
Interesting.
So first off, I won't get into it too much. I found the original incredibly bad pacing. Like it felt like it dragged on forever, and I don't think the character of Deckard is that interesting of a character.
Okay.
I feel he's very generic, very standard. Yes, throughout, but especially in the original.
Okay.
But we're not talking about the original. We're talking about 2049.
Could I cut in?
Yeah.
I will say I think the original did a good job setting a bunch of high standards for sci-fi movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think there's a good number of parts that either feel like they've aged poorly or just kind of come across as cheesy.
Yeah, I can see that. Here's what I loved about Blade Runner 2049, the two movies as a whole, but specifically this one, is the world building, the world they're in, the setting, the location. specifically in 2049, the cinematography. It was visually stunning. There was always something interesting to look at, even when there wasn't necessarily something interesting going on, like in the story, you know? So it's 2 hours and 43 minutes.
It's a long movie.
And I felt every minute of that 2 hours and 43 minutes.
Really? Yeah. I thought the intro was, flew by, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing with
Batista.
Batista, yeah.
Which, by the way, Ryan Gosling should not have been able to fucking beat him.
Well, they both have super strength. They're both replicants.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess.
If it was like human Gosling versus human Batista.
Well, I mean, watching him like beat the shit out of
Yeah.
him, like, this looks like this should go a different way. But
I loved Ryan Gosling's performance, and it made me want to watch The Nice Guys again
That's a great
for
movie.
some reason. But so I loved the characters. I loved all the characters in it. I enjoyed the writing. The concept was good. It's just my problem with all these long movies is I feel like it could have been done just as effectively if it was shorter.
Okay.
But like I said, even when nothing necessarily was going on in the scene, there was something going on visually. So not necessarily to move the story along, but it was cool to look at.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good like atmosphere movie.
Yeah.
Just put it on
Exactly.
in the background.
I 100% agree with that. With Blade Runner, I feel like it is one of those rare movies, and I say rare because I can't think of another one, that is a blockbuster artist's film, you know? Like, it's not your typical blockbuster to rake in money like MCU movie. It's this huge budget movie made by an artist, so it has very artistic elements that you don't normally see in these big blockbusters that you usually see in smaller budget films and indie films, and that is something I could really appreciate about it. I enjoyed and can appreciate those technical components of the movie, even though I felt that it dragged on a lot and thought there was a lot of unnecessary stuff. But the parts I liked about it, I really liked. Parts I didn't like, I really didn't like. But overall, I enjoyed it. It's one of the few movies that we've reviewed on here that I've wanted to watch again to get more out of it. Because I feel like the more you watch it, the more you like it, I guess.
Yeah, because I'd say that was definitely true for me, because I saw it like the first time with my dad just at home. We both thought it was pretty good. Then I saw it, I think the second time I saw it, they put it in theaters this was after when it was originally in theaters. It was like maybe a year ago. They put it like for one night in theaters, so I went to go see it again.
Yeah.
And I was just like blown away by it for some reason, just seeing it on the big screen and being able to like not having any distractions.
Yeah.
Just being able to take it all in. And the cool part was this was one of my like favorite theater going experiences, because at the very end, like when you usually go to a movie, the movie ends, people just kind of like get up, do their thing, talk, make noise.
Yeah.
When this movie ended, everyone was like completely silent, and everyone was kind of quietly getting up and leaving, and it was just you could like kind of feel the mood, and
that's
it was
cool.
It was like a cool experience.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot because it had a story to tell. It wanted to tell the story. I think what pulls me away from liking it more than I do is the original one, just because they take place in the same world, but there is that disconnect a little bit.
Yeah.
And then to get into Harrison Ford, maybe just because I really love Indiana Jones and I really love Han Solo, I didn't think his character was all that good. I thought it was his least interesting. Not necessarily his weakest performance. I thought he did great. He's Harrison Ford. But I thought it was his weakest character. Or one of his weakest. I haven't seen many characters, like you said earlier,
Ford.
Joe. I liked him in Air Force One. He did good in that one.
I mean, I think Kay is a more interesting lead than Deckard.
oh yeah,
100%.
definitely.
Like I said, in the original, Deckard was dull. And in 2049, I really liked Kay, or Joe, as they might have called him. And then even his love interest, Joy. And that whole story, that whole subplot was super interesting and really heartbreaking in the end. I enjoyed his journey because his whole battle with mortality as well, kind of like Roy's battle in the original Blade Runner, which I thought was really interesting when Ryan Gosling showed up to where Harrison Ford was hidden and how they were kind of playing that game of cat and mouse. It reminded me of at the end of the original Blade Runner when Roy is trying to chase down Deckard in that big house.
That's an interesting parallel that I really didn't notice.
And
then what do you think of them using when Kay, spoiler alert, when Kay dies, they use the same Tears in the Rain soundtrack from when Roy dies in the original?
I think, so you pointing it out, I didn't notice it until you pointed it out right now, but when Roy dies, he gives that speech and dies, and it's like very human, right? It validates him having those human experiences. I think it's a mirrored image in 2049 with Kay dying, to where like he feels, quote unquote, his soul leaving, like he feels like he's dying, to validate that he is human, not a replicant.
Doesn't he also see like Joy or whatever, like as he's dying as well, like a little hologram of her?
No.
I thought he did on the side of a building.
Oh, you didn't watch it. That was earlier. That was before the whole shootout thing happened in the end.
Okay.
He missed the whole fight between Love and Kay.
Oh.
Babysitting.
You missed that fight? Like in the water? When he held her, when he was choking her? I thought that was really well done. Because it felt very real and intense. And not a lot of movies can transfer those feelings from the screen to the audience. Sometimes it's just on the screen, it's there, and it's there for no reason. But they really made it feel intense in the whole situation. Like, Kay got beat the heck up and stabbed a bunch of times, and his death was sad, but he saw himself as human.
Yeah.
And I think that is the parallel between him and Roy, in a sense. And I really enjoyed his character. Ryan Gosling's performance was amazing. And, yeah, not better than his performance in Remember the Titans. But
Have you seen Drive?
I've not, but I want to after watching this.
Kind of a similar performance.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out then. Cool. So, Gavan, buddy old pal. What would you rate this on your Gavi Wavy meter?
I'm going to give it a 75%.
Okay. Fair. And then Joseph?
95.
It being your favorite movie, 95?
I could say 100, but
Still not higher than Encanto, though. Crazy.
Well, it depends on you. What are you rating it?
So, coming into this, I probably rated it like a 70 or 75, right?
Okay.
But like I said, the more I talk about it, the more I like it. So I'm going to put it an 85%.
all right. What would you give the original?
Probably a 70.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the concept and the world that they built and this cyberpunky sci-fi noir movie. I just felt like the pacing was not very good.
What's our lowest rated movie? Is it Crossfire?
Crossfire.
I was going to say, would you rather watch Crossfire or the first Blade Runner?
First Blade Runner.
Okay.
That's Harrison Ford.
Did you,
I mean-
did you watch the version with the Harrison Ford narration?
Oh, yeah.
Or no?
No, I watched the final cut.
There's a version, the theatrical version of the original Blade Runner had studio mandated narration by Harrison Ford throughout like the whole movie.
So
And
like
you-
an actual film noir movie?
Yes, and you can tell like how little he cares giving this narration.
Really?
'Cause he,
Sounded so bad.
He sounded like he's bored out of his mind.
Like,
That's
imagine
how I felt
reading-
watching the movie, Harrison Ford. Gosh.
Like, imagine having to read the same story to like a kid or something like that for like the 5th time today. He's just like, okay, well, this is what happens. Just
I might have to look it up just to see.
There's
Oh,
clips
that's
of
funny.
it on YouTube.
Okay,
sure you can find it somewhere.
cool. So next week, the movie of the week is something that Joe has seen and that wasn't planned, but I want to hear Joe's thoughts on it real quick before we review it next week. It's Phone Booth, 2002 movie, starring Colin Farrell, Forrest Whitaker, and Katie Holmes. So there's a cast.
Yes.
Yes,
It's there.
it's there.
It is there.
No, I really like Colin Farrell, and this movie was recommended to me by a friend, and I was like, okay, I like the concept I just knew about a guy in a phone booth.
Yeah, it's a cool concept, a good cast, good direction by Joel Schumacher of Batman infamy. But he does a good job directing this movie. I don't want to give away too much about it, but I enjoyed it a lot, and it's a pretty short movie, so
Yeah, so
it's
there you go.
Nice,
It's
easy
an
watch.
hour and 21 minutes.
I saw it won an MTV award for like best villain, so that gives me high hopes that this villain will be cool.
It is
yeah.
under the genre of thriller, psychological thriller.
I won't say who plays the villain, but they do a good job.
I'm excited. I'm going to watch it, and
Where
that's
can
that.
you watch this at, Ethan?
Let me look at all watch options. So you can watch it on Hulu with a premium subscription. I assume an HBO Max subscription because you can watch it on HBO Max.
Sweet.
Or you can buy it on Amazon Prime.
Not sweet.
Not sweet.
No, don't do that.
So next week's movie, Phone Booth, be sure to watch it, and then we will review it next week.
Review.
Movie review.
Solid.
And before we move on, what would you rate it, percentage-wise, Joe, since you've already seen it?
Phone booth.
Yeah.
It's been a little while since I've seen it. I give it like an 80.
Okay.
Solid movie.
All right. Cool. All right. Now Gavin's looking forward to it.
I was looking forward to it already.
Sure you were. All right. So let's get into the static.
Welcome to the static.
All right. So with Road Rage this week, here's the thing. I did a lot of driving Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Like I went back and forth the place, you know,
Right. Okay.
twice.
Twice.
So
2 times.
2 times during rush hour traffic.
Awesome.
So there's a lot. But so after I was done driving, I was like, wow, I have so much for Road Rage when we record it. I forgot everything.
Nice.
And maybe there's a lesson in that. You know,
No.
getting super angry. You're not going to remember what you're angry about a couple days later. Yeah. So maybe it's not worth getting angry.
I can understand that if it was about anything else, but I'm about road rage.
But with Road Rage, so we'll do it a little bit differently because Joe and I have a story while driving, probably about a year ago now, where we were on our way to D&D at Jay's house,
Sweet.
and it was like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So we're driving down the street, and there's cop car lights up ahead, right? And it's a 1-lane street at this point because they had you merge to 1 lane. And this cop is like shining his flashlight at my car, kind of like waving it, right? And I understood that as like him waving me through. So I kept going until he got all mad and like stepped in front of the car practically to stop the car. And he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, didn't you see me waving the flashlight?" I was like, "I thought you were waving me through." And he's like, and he like started all stuttering and was like, "No, I wasn't."
Right then,
He
what do
said,
you want?
he's just wait, because I think like a fire truck was trying to exit, so they needed to stop traffic. And then after that happened, then he let me pass, and made me pretty upset because like I was blinded by this flashlight that's just flickering in my eyes as I'm driving. I thought he was waving me through because I don't know what the heck's going on, and then he has the audacity to get mad at me. Joe was there; he can tell you.
This man doesn't know the symbol, just holding your hand up. Stop. No?
Yeah, it was just
Cross guard.
it was hard to understand what the police officer like was trying to what he wanted you to do, and then he got mad at you.
Yeah,
I mean, if he wanted you to stop, why didn't he just get in front of the car to begin with?
because it was dark.
Oh.
Yeah, but didn't you have a flashlight?
He had a flashlight. I didn't have a flashlight
Well, I mean, you could see him, couldn't you?
because he had a flashlight. Yeah,
But he was like waving it
yeah, he was waving it.
and like blinding Ethan.
Yeah, blinding a driver. You think that's safe, officer? I don't think so.
Seemed like a cool idea to him, I guess.
I guess. And then he gets mad at me when his idea doesn't work. So, huh.
Should have got his badge number.
I should have. And then, Joe, I don't remember it specifically, but didn't something happen again and then I called you and told you about
Yeah,
it?
you said you this basically the same thing happened. I can't remember how much later it was.
It was a couple months.
Yeah, but you thought it was the same cop too.
Yeah,
because you like recognized a tattoo or something that he had.
Yeah, it was practically the same thing, 2 miles away from where it happened the first time. Where same thing, like he was waving the flashlight all weird, but this time I was like, does this guy want me to stop? So I stopped. And then that's the only reason I knew how to stop, because it happened before. From the same guy. He didn't learn his lesson from the first time. Gosh. All right. That's it. That's the story. Gavin, do you have any road rage this week?
I do not.
Of course you don't. Joe, you have any road rage this week?
Nope.
All right. Well, short road rage this week. So that's road rage with Gavi Wavy and me and Joe. All right. Let's get into the meat. Again. The dessert meat. Gavan versus Wild. So, Gavan versus Wild. It's been very popular. People love it. People are debating it all over the world. It's trending on Twitter.
I got all my coworkers to start talking about it.
Oh, yeah?
So that was funny.
So, let's get into the results from last week's Gavan versus Wild.
Does the Tiger King win again?
Last week was Gavan with a sword versus a blind bull. Now, on last week's episode, I argued Gavan, the bull, would win. Easily. And then as I was making the graphic and everything and putting blind bull, Gavan with a sword, I thought about it more. And I was like, Gavan has this in the bag. So I voted Gavan. All right. Joe, what'd you vote?
I voted for the bull.
All right. What's your argument there?
Well, didn't Gavan also have like the bell on him?
You did have the bell on him.
Yeah.
I think can cover. You just hold on to it.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have like the hand for the sword. You like wouldn't have
It
your
was a
free
big
hand.
sword.
Could be an issue.
What sword was it?
It was a
I
great
thought
sword.
it was my choice.
Nope, you don't get a choice.
It was my fucking
All right,
choice.
here's the results, though. 68% voted Gavan with the sword, and then 32% a blind bull. So, there's that. Joe, you're part of the 32%. How do you feel?
Wrong.
I feel all right.
Feel all right?
Yeah.
Hope it eats you up alive.
I will be vindicated. I will be eventually vindicated when this actually happens.
I'm going to read the comment of the week.
I think I already know this one. I don't want to hear it.
I'm gonna read it from Gilbert. Shout out Gilbert. Thanks for listening.
No,
I
we
think I
don't
might
shout
have read
out.
this one too.
So, Gavan versus Bull. I chose Gavan. Maybe he would try talking to the bull and asking him a ton of questions. The bull would fall on the sword to make Gavan stop. Rip Bull. And that couldn't be more true. I think that's
I think the bull
that's
would be
hilarious. That's
too
one of my
enraged.
favorite comments we've ever had.
It is a great comment.
I think the bull would be too enraged to want to fucking do that. But
He's like, the Gavan would get bored from Gavan's questions. I think that's awesome.
I don't.
So that's the comment this week, so I won't read it later. There it is. Leave a comment, and then maybe you'll get it read on the show, on this very prestige show. Yes. All right. Let's up the stakes a little bit. This week, we've talked about Gavan versus an adult male boar.
I don't know if that's upping the stakes as much.
Okay, do you want to do the hippo?
No, I'm okay with the boar, but I just don't know if the boar would be more challenging than the bull.
No, I think it would be.
Okay.
All right. So, what would be a good buff and what would be a good handicap?
Well, and I have to look up what a boar looks like. Like I don't know what how big is a boar?
Pretty fucking big.
I actually have this. I had the statistics up earlier. Jacob was supposed to do all this, but I have to do it now. Adult male boar.
They're about at least 5 pounds. At least.
Wild boar. Alrighty. Let's
About 7 feet. No, just kidding.
The wild boar is a bulky, massively built with short and relatively thin legs.
Damn, you just described me.
Let's see.
He was massively built, but then he saw me. But then I stood up, and this motherfucker sat back down.
I'm trying to... This is a lot of information.
I think everybody knows what a fucking boar is. Either.
Well, I'm trying to get like statistics to make it like kill you.
It's big. It's like probably. Oh my gosh.
How big is a wild boar? How big is a wild boar? There we go. Wow. So they're anywhere between 170 and 220 pounds.
All right.
So
Easy.
I think it's like it's like fighting another human.
Weight wise, but how tall are they?
5 to 6 feet in length. So tip of the nose to the end of the tail.
But how tall are they?
3 feet.
Not that bad. 3 feet. Just gotta kick. You gotta punt the fucker.
Okay. Honestly,
Give
I
me the
feel like
bronze kneecap.
I feel like just you versus a boar. There doesn't need to be any handicaps.
Whoa!
involved.
Boars also have fucking tusks.
Okay.
I want a weapon too.
Fine, a baseball bat.
No. What? A bat?
Yeah,
I'd break the fucking bat before I did any damage to this
A metal
boar.
bat.
a metal bat.
How thick is a boar's skull? This would be a stupid ass fucking weapon to use. Their attack method, Ethan, is running into you full speed. I imagine it's got a thick ass skull.
You want a gun then?
Yes,
Well, then you win. God, that's why I
take a
hate
shotgun.
you with this whole thing.
I'll take any rifle you want to give me with ammo.
Human versus boar.
No, it's Gavan versus boar because I'm a little bit more than a human.
You're a little bit bored than me.
Genetic
How to
freak.
survive a wild boar attack.
Yeah, ask Gavan to come in and help you.
Can a human outrun a boar?
Fuck
no.
no.
Even if you can score 40 miles per hour. Wow.
Yeah, but could I run farther than a boar?
How to survive a wild boar attack. All
Could
you
I
need to
run
know.
longer than the boar can, regardless of speed?
Why you should avoid wild boar encounters at all costs. They're very dangerous, not only because of their aggression, but also because they are carriers of diseases that can be passed on to humans, such as tuberculosis, hepatitis E, and influenza A.
Yeah, but not me.
They also cause thousands of accidents on the road each year that can result in serious injuries for drivers. Okay. That's it. I feel like you got this in the bag, Gavin.
I do, but what weapon do I have even?
A baseball bat.
A metal
No.
baseball
I'm
bat.
not taking a fucking bat. Give me an actual weapon, damn it.
A fireman axe.
Fireman's
I feel like
axe.
you easily got it with a fireman axe, though.
I don't know. What is the nerf to the boar?
What nerf? It's
just a boar.
a boar.
It's fucking strong as shit. 220 pounds? Are you kidding me? Need more than just a fire axe to take him down.
So they can they can get up to 25 to 30 miles an hour.
So I'm fighting a small, compact version of Usain Bolt.
I guess. That's compact.
It's also 220 pounds with spears on its fucking face.
They can climb out of holes in the ground that are up to 6 feet deep. They can jump over fences about 3 feet high. Wow. Fierce, sharp tusks.
Yep. Those are a little scary. Got little ankle biters.
All right, here
Shin
it is.
biters.
Here it is. You guys are in an empty swimming pool, right?
Okay.
Okay. It has metal tusks.
What the fuck?
Oh,
I thought we were giving it a nerf.
nope. I think you have it in the bag if we give you a good enough weapon.
Okay, well then a fireman's axe is not a good enough
I
weapon.
feel like that's a pretty good
I think
weapon.
you
Have
could
you
do
seen
it.
a fireman's axe used?
Fireman's
I'll
axe.
chop down some wood,
Two
maybe.
fireman's axes.
Give me like
Okay, fireman's axe and a shield.
a fireman's axe is huge. I'm not going to swing that one-handed.
Well, those are your
So
options.
you're giving me a nerf. You're giving me a nerf.
Yeah, I feel like this is fair.
What fucking shield do I have?
I feel like this is fair. Should
I'll
we
take a sword
should we
and
call
shield.
the expert?
I'll take a sword and shield. Or a smaller axe and shield. A fucking fireman's axe is a two-handed axe. That is not a one-handed axe.
I think fine. Do you want like an actual hand axe?
I'll take a hand axe and shield.
Hand axe and shield.
Yes.
A wild boar with metal tusks, and you guys are in.
I don't know why we're giving it metal tusks and also limiting my space to run. Again, what the fuck?
Well, you're not supposed to run from it. Do you want to run
I'm
from
not-
it? Okay, in the jungle, in its habitat,
Yeah, but at least I have movement.
in like Hunger Games style, like arena style. So
Like, unless this is an Olympic fucking pool we're in, sure. But a standard pool, I have like 3 feet to move around before I hit a wall.
I feel like that's pretty fair. You in the jungle or the forest, where are they typically from? They're like like the woods.
Okay.
Cool. We'll do that. In the woods with a
We'll do like a meadow clearing. How about that?
a meadow clearing. That's good. With a wild boar that has metal tusks, and then you have a steel shield and hand
A
axe.
steel shield.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be able to lift the fucking shield.
You'll be able to lift it. It's like a medieval shield.
All right, Ethan.
You don't think that's fair?
No.
I feel like you have it easily in the back.
It
oh
hits
my
me
gosh.
one time and I'm fucking dead. Hits me once.
Didn't the
and I'm
king from Game of Thrones die from a boar attack?
I never watched Game of Thrones.
Neither did I.
What's his name?
But I do know the boar's tusks are already sharp enough already. You don't need to give them steel tusks.
Spoiler alert. After a hunting accident,
Major spoiler alert, actually.
Robert is it's in like the 3rd episode. Robert is mortally wounded by a wild boar. Huh. But he was also incredibly drunk.
So don't drink, Gavin.
So should we make you drunk?
No.
I feel like that would be better. We take away the metal tusks of the boar when we make you drunk.
I would take the metal tusks.
Okay, fine.
Or we
make
just
the
not
boar
give him
drunk.
Metal tusks. We can make the boar drunk. I'll do that.
Okay, I like that actually.
The boar is mentally impaired.
Drunken boar with metal tusks, and then you with a shield and hand axe. That's
All right.
fair. All right,
for me.
there we go. So, who would win in a fight on this week's episode of Gavan versus Wild? Gavan takes on a drunken wild boar with metal tusks, as he only has a shield and a hand axe to protect him in a meadow clearing. There we go. Cast your vote on the OEF White Noise Instagram page, where we'll post it on the story Friday, April 22nd at 10 a.m. And then you have 24 hours to vote there, or you can leave a comment on this video, and then we'll incorporate all the votes and add them up, and then we'll see the results next week. There we go. Joe, who do you think wins?
I'm betting on Gavin.
Gavin, you're undefeated,
I'd like
so
I have the experience in this fight already. I've already killed a boar or a bull and a fucking tiger, so I don't see why the boar should give me that much problem, especially if the boar's drunk.
Okay.
That's the key thing to take away here is the boar is drunk.
But
So this thing is
maybe
gonna be-
alcohol makes him more aggressive.
Or it makes him stumble around and trip over, which will give me optimal time to swing my axe down and just chop it. Chop.
We can only...
I'll play the waiting game.
Let's run the simulation.
I just got to chop him up enough times and then wait for him to bleed out.
Okay.
That's my goal.
But you're also, like, naked. You're only
Why
in
the
underwear.
fuck do you keep doing this? I don't think it matters what clothing I'm wearing if he's got steel tusks.
Okay, fine.
But I would like to have at least some pants on.
Each their... Okay.
I don't think
You have your Incredibles costume.
I don't know. That's kind of poofy. I would actually rather be naked at that point. At least I have freedom of movement.
All right. Cool. So that's this episode, or this week's episode of Gavan versus... Or the segment of Gavan versus Wild. So vote on the Instagram story starting 4/22/2022, Friday morning at 10 a.m. And then it'll be up on the story for 24 hours. All right. Now...
Wait, where are they going to find this poll at?
on Instagram.
Yeah, but what's
At
our account?
OEF, White Noise,
Okay, there we go.
for the second time.
Drop the plug.
Drop the plug. All right. Joseph, buddy old pal, I need you to back me up here. For a couple months now, I have been, hating on the movie Tenet. Now, I saw this movie in theaters with you, Joe.
Correct.
And what are your thoughts on Tenet? Did you watch it again after theater?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. What were your thoughts the first time for?
The first time, well, I couldn't understand a good chunk of the dialogue because of the way like the audio was mixed. It was hard to hear what they were saying. The story was very confusing, and I thought the characters lacked the depth that most Christopher Nolan movies characters have. It had some enjoyable action set pieces, but that wasn't enough to carry it for me.
Okay.
I did enjoy it more when I saw it again with subtitles, but it's still definitely not one of his better movies.
And I think that was my whole argument, is I hold Christopher Nolan to a much higher standard, and Tenet did not meet that standard. If anyone else made the movie, sure, it'd be an okay movie. I wouldn't hate on it so much. I'd say, it's okay, it's not that good. But the fact that Christopher Nolan made it, and it turned out the way it did, unacceptable. It's like an 8th grader doing a 2nd grader's homework. You expect them to nail it. But if a 2nd grader does its homework, it's like, oh, yeah, you'll see some mistakes there. That's exactly what it's like, Joe. And I stand by it. Tenet is a less than mediocre movie. And you hit the nail on the head with characters that he's usually good at the character part of it. This movie, the characters were... He wanted you to care about them, but didn't give you enough information to care about them. The only one I cared about was Robert Pattinson's character. He was cool. That's it.
Spoiler alert, and then he died.
Okay. That was an unnecessary spoiler.
Unnecessary spoiler alert.
But yeah, that's Tenet, and I stand by that. And that's how I feel about it. Thank you for backing me up, Joe.
Yep.
Because Gavin's never seen it.
Oh.
Jacob's never seen it. Just talking like a crazy man about Tenet being a bad movie. I will say the soundtrack was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
But that's because that's all I heard the entire movie.
Yeah.
Because the sound mixing sucked.
Yep.
There, look at that, full circle. Speaking of movies, Joe and I used to do something like this every week, where we would review a movie every week. We'd watch it, and then be like, oh, did we like it? Did we not like it? One of those movies I really liked, I mentioned it earlier, was The Nice Guys. And I've actually been wanting to watch it again. What other movies did we watch, Joe?
We watched To Live and Die in L.A.
That one was fun.
Heat.
I really enjoyed Heat, even though it was a 3-hour long movie.
Yep.
It was one of the longer movies I enjoyed.
Miami Vice 2006.
Colin Farrell, that one was good too. Damn, just keep hitting it out of the park.
Also aid in a fucking bank robbery in Hollywood. Do you remember reading? Do you remember like watching the video about that?
I think so. Yeah.
The fucking bank robbery in Hollywood, California, where like they had like all these, they had such good armor, and good weaponry, and they found like investigators found that they had watched Heat, so that's how they knew how to coordinate
that's
times.
True. That's true.
Damn, you know you're a good director when you make a movie that accurate.
I think they also use
Shout out to Heat.
Predict the future.
They use Val Kilmer's like reload in that movie as like, I can't remember if it's like for soldiers
training.
or police, but for like training. They use
Shout out Val Kilmer, best Batman. It got really quiet.
Yeah, I don't like that one, Chief. Competing there with George Clooney.
Top 3. All right, cool. Joe, are you watching any? You said you haven't watched Moon Knight because you're watching other shows. What shows are those?
Not the right ones.
I've still been watching Ink Master. It's still epic.
Nice. I watched the first 6 episodes of Peacemaker. I haven't finished the last 2 yet.
Peacemaker?
Yeah, very, very solid DC show. I like it more than the movie. It's like a spin-off from the Suicide Squad. I think Peacemaker is better.
Okay. I still haven't seen the new Suicide Squad.
It's pretty good. I think it's worth watching at some point.
King
It's on
Shark.
HBO.
Sylvester Stallone Shark.
Yep.
That was Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He did the voice, not the mocap.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was him. That's funny.
Fuck.
Okay.
I've also been watching Jujutsu Kaisen. It's an anime. It's from 2019, I believe.
Okay.
They just had a prequel movie like this year that was also really good. But I just finished the show, and very solid show. Probably in like my top 10 favorite anime.
Okay. Cool. I watched the first episode of Berserk.
The 97 one or
Yeah,
the
the
2016
97 one.
I was about to say, don't watch the 2016 one.
I thought it was pretty cool. Like
You
the,
could watch
the visuals of it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you started watching that show.
I watched it and then
No, never mind. I won't say anything.
Don't
Just
spoil
what?
it, Joe. Don't spoil
I won't
it.
say
What?
anything. I'm not saying anything.
I'm gonna watch everything chronologically released. So
Just do not watch the newer shows. You can watch that in the Netflix movies.
Yeah.
But do not watch anything
Well,
past
the
that.
What movies are like basically a retelling.
that's
of
what
the show.
Gavin
Yeah.
told me. Is
I will rephrase though.
They go a little past where the show ends, but
It still leaves you on a huge cliffhanger. I will rephrase though. The movies and Netflix, jank animation. It's
that's the whole thing though.
shout out Studio 4C.
it's a
I
mix
can
of,
watch very bad animation as long as it tells a good story. Like
dude. No, I'm talking
visual-
more like
like-
it's like you get sick looking at it type
well,
thing.
it's the same thing with Phantom Menace. It's the same thing with the prequels. It's not visually appealing. That doesn't bother me. in any movie where it's not visually appealing.
It would,
as long as it tells a good story.
I mean, with like live action stuff, I can understand like bad effects, but like in a movie that's entirely animated, if the visuals look bad,
I feel like
you're fighting a huge uphill
maybe
battle
when I
there.
first watch it, I'll be like, oh, this is kind of janky.
I would
But
compare
then-
it to Star Wars. The first one, bad animation. Second one, okay. Third one, they got it a lot more bad.
Are you watching it dubbed or subbed?
Dubbed.
Okay, the dub's good.
They use the same voice actors for the Netflix movies too.
Yeah, and they're better in those than they are in the
Yes.
original show. Because in the original show, they use Sean Schemmel, who's Goku in Dragon Ball Z, for like a good 50% of all the male background characters.
So it
in
just
the
sounds
show.
like Goku's
Yes.
in there.
Yeah.
He's in a lot. In the movies, he's also there. He's very indistinct.
Never seen
voice.
Dragon Ball Z either.
Oh man.
I don't even know the premise or the lore or any of that.
Oh man, you gotta get. To
I just
that.
know Goku and Vegeta. That's it. That's the only information I have about Dragon Ball Z.
All right. After watching Berserk, please watch some fucking Dragon Ball. Jesus.
I won't watch like
You really don't
What-
need to.
I-
It is what it is.
Paul really loves Dragon Ball.
It's a cool show.
He loves Vegeta.
Is it, though? I mean, it's good.
I
But
thought fucking Cell was badass.
Cell is badass.
Cell was fucking cool.
that's my favorite part of the show.
But Ethan will
That's
get there one
that's
day.
why I still haven't gotten through the Boo saga, because I don't find it as interesting as Cell.
True. Kid Buu was pretty cold though. But you'll know it when you get there after
well,
you watch all the show.
I won't watch Dragon Ball Z. That's
Well, first you have to watch all of Dragon Ball, then you can watch Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
I don't know the difference. That's crazy.
Show.
It's like
Different story.
It's like Naruto and Naruto Shippuden.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Legit.
Okay,
Quite
cool.
literally.
So, Joseph, something we do whenever we have a guest is we try to ask ghost stories. Do you have any ghost stories or supernatural experiences? That's what we always ask. I know one of them we actually experienced together, and I think I mentioned it
Was it
did.
the statue?
before. Yep.
Yes, Dad.
Stat, like where we were driving and we saw this. It looked like a person, but
like,
something was
eerily
so
still.
off about them.
They're like standing eerily
They're
still.
exactly like no movement whatsoever, and I would catch it out of the corner of my eye, and it was just very unsettling.
And this wasn't like someone who pretends to be a statue or anything.
No, it was like
It also
2
looked like they
a.m.
had it had like a bag on their head or
Yeah,
something.
it was
weird.
very weird. I don't know how to explain it. Joe and I saw it once, and then I saw it again on my own in a completely different location. So that's the story of Stat.
Correct.
We named it Stat because it's like a statue, so Stat. You know, it's not very
It's not very
creative, but because that's all the information we have. That's the only way we can describe it. But Joe, do you have any other supernatural experiences?
I have one. This goes. I don't remember when this was. It was back when I was like trick or treating, so maybe like elementary
2
school.
years ago? Oh,
Yeah, 2
elementary
years ago,
school.
obviously. Anyways, I like was with a group of like some of my neighbors. And we were
Halloween
like,
scary
yeah,
story.
like trading candy. And I said something like, "Oh, I don't think ghosts are real."
Oh.
And then later that night, I was like asleep, and then I felt like something was like choking me. I was like laying on my stomach, and it felt like something was like choking me. And then I like put my hand like on my neck, and nothing was there. And then I just kind of laid there for like a minute, hoping it would go away, and then eventually it did.
So even after you touched it, you still felt like you were being choked?
Yeah.
That's
Did it leave a mark?
No.
that's I've heard stories like that before where you feel like someone's pressing on you. I think it was also Paul, like when
Oh,
the
yeah,
arm
he
would
did
go
talk
over
about
and
that.
stuff.
Dude,
like you couldn't move.
like my dad and my brother Joe, shout out Joe. They also said they experienced stuff where it's like you get like a scratch or maybe you woke up with like a new bruise. I've never experienced anything like that, despite how haunted my house, I guess, is.
And then that was the only time you experienced that, Joe?
Yeah.
It never came up again, or
Nope.
do you believe in ghosts now?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
That definitely made me
Well, like,
consider.
So if you had to give a ballpark estimate, how old were you?
I really don't know.
Could have just been some badass reflux.
I just said a ballpark estimate, Joe.
We said elementary school, right?
Yeah.
So it means 5 to like what, 12 before middle
Yeah,
school.
so I guess if I had to guess, which you're making me guess,
Yeah.
maybe like 9.
Okay. Do you think so? You still are able to recall that event pretty vividly, and,
Yeah.
and stand by it. You're like, oh, maybe it was something else, or maybe I've interpreted
Yeah, maybe it could have
it
been like
differently.
sleep
Yeah.
paralysis.
Or
That would be fucking scary to.
Maybe it was a
picture now.
dream, like something
Yeah.
like that. But like you remember it so vividly that you're sure it was exactly the way you told it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you haven't experienced anything since.
Nope.
I think that's the creepy part. You know,
Yeah.
they give you that little taste, and then they never talk to you again. You know.
It's like a Tinder date.
Have I told the story of Gavin got my phone number banned from Tinder?
What?
Gavin got my phone number banned from Tinder. I've never used Tinder, but I am banned from Tinder.
How the fuck would I have gotten your phone number banned?
You got my phone number banned from Tinder
What did I do?
because you were signing up for Tinder like
You mean
a few weeks before your 18th birthday.
You mean is this because you signed me up for Tinder? Or
No. This is because you signed up for yourself. I remember.
What?
I remember. This is a while ago.
I do remember.
Yeah.
This. Okay.
So you signed up a few weeks before your 18th birthday. You put your birthday in. They're like, oh, you're not 18 yet.
I wasn't trying to sign up. I just wanted to see if it would let me.
Okay.
Because that was one of the things I was always like, can you make an account if you're not even 18?
So they wouldn't let him sign up. I was
And,
like,
you
oh,
know, it works.
I was like, oh, use my phone number and like put a different birthday. So that's what he did. He put my phone number, and then
I accidentally used my birthday at the time.
so
I wasn't 18.
he used a different birthday, and then once he made the account, then he went to his settings to change the birthday to his actual birthday, and then it banned my phone number from Tinder.
Oops.
So I'm banned from Tinder, and I've never used it before. Look at that.
Well, I mean, I'll give you my phone number.
I don't want to use Tinder.
to make your Tinder
I don't-
if you want.
Isn't your phone number used for your Tinder?
I don't have a Tinder.
Oh. Why'd you make that face?
I don't have one.
One of those trademark Gavan faces.
One of those trademark. See, now you get to see it in
Yeah.
person. It's gosh.
It's real.
We should, those shirts that you get at like Walmart or something where it's Darth Vader like 9 times and it's like happy, sad, happy, like all those.
Yep.
We should do that with all the different like Gavin faces that he makes during the podcast and just name all of them exquisite.
Fuck off. Exquisite. Yeah, you got to get at least one in.
Yeah, that was my first time. But yeah, I think that would be funny. If this video gets 2 likes, we'll make those t-shirts.
Nope.
This video gets 200 likes, we'll make those t-shirts.
Okay, I'll settle for 200 likes.
Okay. All right, cool. So that's that. This week, despite Jacob not being here, we do have a DeJakey factuality. Can I get a cheer from the audience?
Woohoo! Also, we went down in 2 subscribers. Oh,
Why would
exquisite.
you say that? Why would you say that live,
Just
Gavin?
saying, we used to have like 37, but now we're back down to 30.
We had 35. We never had 37.
We had 36. I know for a fact we had 36 at one point.
I've only seen it at 35. So
We lost at least one.
We haven't lost any. All right. So this is Jacob sent me this fact. Since we talked a lot about Star Wars, I'm sure you guys all know this, but it's a very interesting fact. Or maybe you don't know it.
What is it?
Okay.
Liam Neeson was too tall for Star Wars. Did you guys know that?
No.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. So the sets for The Phantom Menace were only as tall as the actors, but they didn't account for 6'4" Liam Neeson. They had to rebuild all the door frames for Qui-Gon Jinn, which racked up an additional $150,000 in production costs.
Sheesh.
Holy shit. They couldn't just ask him to bend down?
Well, I mean, it would be every door.
Okay, it saves you $100,000. Holy
But
shit.
yeah, he was too tall, so they had to rebuild all the sets to account for his height. And 6'4", I didn't know he was. I knew he was like a taller guy. I didn't know he was 6'4".
Maybe that's why they killed him off.
Maybe
They were like, fuck,
Yeah,
dude, we
we're
can't
not-
have you on the set.
We're
anymore.
not doing this anymore.
And then the fight, speaking of the fight where they killed him off, wasn't that fight sped down or slowed down because they
Yeah.
were going so quick?
Yep. Ray Park and
And
the
What-
guys.
yeah,
I met Ray Park.
You met Ray Park?
Yep.
When?
He was at like the Phoenix. Now it's called the Fan Fusion.
Oh yeah, like the Comic-Con.
Yeah.
They changed it.
He was nice.
That's cool. He plays Snake Eyes in the G.I. Joe movie.
Yep.
The original ones. The
I don't think he plays him in the new one though.
No, he's not.
yeah, definitely not. The
Yeah. He also plays a ton of like characters
yeah.
that don't speak or whatever.
Toad and X-Men.
Yeah.
One.
Oh, I thought you meant Toad and like Mario. I was like, wait, what?
That's your thumbnail picture. Toad with Darth Maul's face.
I'll do it. We should do it, even though we just talked about it very briefly at the
Very end.
hour and 19-minute mark.
Jesus Christ.
Cool. So, on that note, follow us on all social media. There's only 2. It's Instagram and YouTube. On Instagram, we are at OEF White Noise. Be sure to vote for your Gavan versus Wild thoughts of
It's
the
not up
week.
yet, Joe. Don't vote for the don't vote for the fucking boar.
It is a Drunken Wild Boar with Metal Tusks versus Gavan with a shield and a hand axe. It should be a great fight. Catch it live Saturday. We're gonna simulate it. On YouTube, we're One-Eyed Fits. That's where the podcast is uploaded on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, the works. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you leave a comment, maybe we'll read it. We probably will. We get a good handful, so there's a good chance
By
your comment will be
We
read.
talk about like 2 or 3.
two or three a video, and it could be yours. So leave a comment. We like reading them. And yeah, so Joe, where can people find you? What do you want to plug to the audience?
Check out my guitar Instagram at JRGUI_TAR.
All right, one more time. You have to do it twice, like OEF. White
At
noise.
JRGUI_TAR.
All right, be sure to give Joseph a follow there for his guitar Instagram, and
Drop the plug, brosef.
drop the plug. Gavin, do you have anything to say?
Not really.
Okay. Be sure to tune in next week, where hopefully Jacob will be back. And this week's song of the week, Gavin?
It's going to be Someday by Surfaces. A nice low vibe. It's a song you would probably listen to if you were like in a rainstorm or something like that.
Okay.
It's relaxed.
Interesting.
Something to put you to sleep.
Like Ryan Gosling and Blade Runner?
Does you mean Harrison Ford?
You confused him.
You confused me, yeah.
Now he's not sure what to think.
Now he's not sure what to think. All right, cool. Appreciate you for tuning in. If you've stayed this long, appreciate it. Really do. Joe, are you going to listen to this episode?
I don't know. It's like weird listening to myself.
I feel like if you listen to the first few minutes, you're like, wait, I've already experienced all this. Why am I going to relive it? But you should. At least like, comment.
Watch it long enough to where we
Subscribe.
get a view count, at
Okay.
least.
Yeah, do that for us, Joe.
And on Spotify. And on Anchor.
Wait,
on Apple
so
Podcasts.
Gavin's always said you listen to only on Spotify. Is that true, or did you change it up?
I usually only listen on Spotify, but I'll comment on YouTube.
Okay. Do you watch long enough to count as a view?
On YouTube?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Wow.
Trigger.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. All right, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We have to go lather Gavin up in baby oil, so we'll be right back.